and raised there. You live in Nashville now, lifelong Southern Baptist, these deep cultural roots. How have all of these shaped you that you would tell us in the northern, western, and western evangelicals about what's going on culturally, even in the America, that others just don't get? Like, you get it in the South, you see it, because a lot of the stuff that you wrote about is very much Southern, but it does go across the culture.
Yeah, and I think that there's, like with everything else, I think that there's an ingenuity and a shadow side to any ingenuity that's there. So I actually was having a conversation just this morning, oddly enough, with a northern evangelical who's operating in a southern evangelical space, who's having culture shock. And I'm a southern evangelical working in a northern evangelical space who's having culture shock. And so I was trying to explain to him kind of how Southern evangelicals think. And a lot of that is the reason that we've been able to build things, because there really isn't as much, I think, risk aversion in Southern evangelical spaces that can lead to an impulsivity. Let's just build it. But things get built. They don't always succeed, but they get built. So that's one thing that I see. I mean, the other thing is, if you look at, you've had a kind of cultural Christianity in the South for a long time, Bible Belt, that has kept some bad things from happening, but has not been spiritually good for Southern evangelicals. That's shifting and changing, but it's changing in a different way than I expected it to. I thought what would happen is that the Bible Belt would become more like, not exactly, but more like New England and the Pacific Northwest just 25 years after everybody else. And what I didn't really count on was that cultural Christianity would just de-church and morph into, rather than the kind of cultural Christianity that would say, I have to belong to a Methodist or Baptist or Episcopalian church in order to sell real estate or meet a spouse or be seen as a good parent or whatever. That's gone away, but what it's been replaced with is a sense of Christian, quote unquote, identity that's about what one posts on social media, even though there's no connection to community at all. So that's a big change, I think, that's happened in the Bible Belt just over the last, really accelerating over the last 10 years.
Do you think that with the shift culturally, with everyone moving to the South from the North, especially from the blue states into the red states, that's reinvigorated some of that as well?
I think what's happening is, and I've noticed this in Nashville, is that sometimes you have people who are thinking, oh, all these people who are coming from New York and California are bringing New York and California with them. In many cases, I think the problems that we've had have been the reverse. It's kind of like, any congregation I've ever served, the people who would be upset if you quoted a Catholic author, for instance, are all ex-Catholics. They're the people who are sort of rebelling against that. And so a lot of times, if you look at, we've got some crazy school board meetings that go on around here, and often they're Californians or New Yorkers or something like that, who are expecting the exact reverse in every way of whatever the last bad thing they had was. And so when they don't get that, are really hotly upset about it. I think it's not worked the way that some people either hoped or feared.